Okay, recording this video after close of trade Tuesday, 29th of March 2011, and back in Sydney, pretty jet lagged, not been trading over the last couple of days, although was looking at the markets on Monday when I was waiting for a plane. There was a great little turning point set up that I'll show you on my day trading charts. Also need to mention that my Gmail account was hacked while I was traveling, and so you might well have received some spam message from my Gmail account. 1,000 apologies for that. Very scary when someone kind of hacks in. Wasn't spoofing, was actually hacking into my Gmail account, so that's really scary. Thank God that's the only damage they did do, but again, apologies if you receive kind of spam from me. I've done what I can at this end to kind of stop that kind of happening in the future, so let's see, fingers crossed. And also just to mention, I'm obviously kind of behind on my emails kind of coming in, so if you've not received a reply to me, just please give me a couple of days to get on top of that. Anyway, just to show you what's been happening on the Emini charts over the last couple of days. Interesting couple of days. These are kind of real reversal days, but the key feature is the volume has been extremely light on Monday and Tuesday. So this was Monday's kind of down day on extremely light volume, and typically a low volume down day like this is a test, and that was testing back into the 1300 level here. And then today we had a kind of reversal, the other thing kind of going the other way, where we kind of reversed back up, testing the 1320 type level, but again on extremely light volume. So all we're doing at the moment is just kind of testing the highs and the lows of these range, and I think we're kind of setting up for a good kind of turning point day. But just be aware, when we've got fairly good kind of trending days like this over the last couple of days, we could easily kind of go nowhere tomorrow and just had a very low volume, a low range day tomorrow. So just kind of be careful that actually might kind of turn out as we're kind of forming a little bit of a top, and I'll show you that on my day trading charts. Just on sine wave here, I've been talking about this kind of coming up. We've now got confirmed cyclical turning points on the daily time frame. This is ADS.D, so this is just showing the day's data, the day sessions data, no night session in here, and we've had a cyclical turn kind of put in here. It's not formed an end of trend warning signal because this pullback level was violated. But if we look at this on the @ES contract, which is the day and the night session, it has formed an end of trend here. So the pullback and the end of trend nicely kind of formed here. So I look at these on, obviously the day and the day only and the complete 24-hour kind of contract data. I also look at it on the Dow, the Russell, the Nasdaq, and the S&P index, and all of them are kind of turning over at this point. So just be aware that that's kind of coming up on these time frames. Important cyclical turning point. In terms of trend line, we've kind of broken back above this kind of downsloping trend line, but we're playing with this upsloping, the continuation of this upsloping trend line here. So this 1320 type level is really kind of important. We could easily kind of just bounce off that, kiss it, and kind of say goodbye. So just be aware that that's kind of going on. Also not shown the TRIN data for a while, partly because the TRIN oscillator systems are in a bit of a drawdown at the moment. It really kind of bugs me. But this is what happened today. Although today's day, we had a strong up day today, and yesterday was a strong down day in terms of looking like trending days. Both of these days were extremely weak in terms of the TRIN, the adjusted TRIN value, and today we have a bearish divergence signal here. Just remember on the TRIN, when I do my adjustments, I kind of do a logarithmic scale that makes things kind of more linear in terms of buying and selling, and then flip them positive and negative so that we've positive values are buying, negative values are selling. So today, although we had a strong up day in terms of price, the actual underlying buying that was going on was extremely weak at only positive 26. We got the TRIN oscillators kind of overboard at positive 136, so we're going to see a down swing in that, and the TRIN oscillator tends to turn a day before the market turns. So I see tomorrow as a little bit important kind of topping out type day, and then going into what would that be, Thursday, an important kind of day, whether we actually kind of end up going down. And just on the commitment of traders data kind of came out over the weekend, and this is what we had. We kind of had a spike in commitment of traders. I'm actually flipping my commitment of traders data here, so this is actually net selling by the professionals here, but I find it more helpful to flip the data to look at the kind of the relative strengths. When we have bullish divergence patterns, for example here, you can see what's going on. What I'm looking at is the strength of this kind of move in terms of the commitment of traders versus what happens in price. Are we actually setting ourselves up for a kind of a divergent signal here? And then just going down on the tip bar charts from the highest to the lowest here. So this is the 40,500 tip bar chart. We had a pullback in an uptrend signal. Really, it's a couple of bars late. Would have been perfect here. But the critical thing from my perspective is how today's kind of low, or the overnight low at 1300, was really signaled on these 3 time frames. Let me just show you this. I often talk about this. The cyclical resistance that turns into support levels here in kind of an uptrend is really important. So back here, this cyclical level was broken to the upside. We come back and test it, and we often bounce off this when we're in a trend move. So that 1300 level here. So this was 1300 exactly and a half, on the cyclical support level here. So we've kind of bounced off that today. We formed a pullback signal, and we'll form an end of trend over the next day and a half possibly. But look at this, the value on this exhaustion buying here was very high in terms of better momentum. We've not had an exhaustion buying signal print yet here, but as soon as this kind of turns over, we will. So this was extreme kind of exhaustion buying on the upside. Let's go down to the 13,500 level. You see yesterday's activity. We peaked out at an end of trend warning signal here with bearish divergence and rolled over yesterday. Today we came into this 1300 level, was a cyclical turning point, and we'd had exhaustion selling on the downside and a bullish divergence signal print here, and that's what kind of sparked the rally in today's activity. Coming into the close here, we've also got a cyclical turn lining up. We've got blue professional bars here at the highs. I was talking about this last video I recorded over the weekend. We were on the Friday. We were coming into this, and we were seeing the blue professional bars at the bottom of this move, and then we kind of came into a little bit of an upswing. And then yesterday we had the blue professional bars kind of coming in at lows, and then we went the upswing. Well, now we've got the reverse. We've got blue professional bars, profit taking by professionals at the highs, coming in at this high move, a cyclical turn kind of coming out here. So and this will be a second cyclical turn after end of trend. So we're going to be rolling over here tomorrow. And then when we go down to the 4,500 tip bar chart, here's today's activity. The low is printed with a beautiful end of trend warning signal here. All these blue professional bars kind of coming in. Yesterday we'd had our exhaustion selling. Overnight we kind of came back into test with bullish divergence, end of trend, bang, and we kind of rally from there. So just on these 3 time frames, these three things were all working together on these highest time frames to signal a rally today. We were bouncing off cyclical resistance that becomes support here in a trend move. On the 13,000 we had a cyclical support level here after exhaustion selling, bullish divergence, and then on the 4,500 it was a trend move on the downside here. We'd had exhaustion selling, we had bullish divergence and professionals coming into this turning point, bang, and we kind of took off to the upside. So but now on the 4,500 tip bar chart we've broken into an uptrend here. This is pretty high level in terms of exhaustion buying at this point, but on this time frame we'll need to see a pullback and an end of trend warning signal. So tomorrow kind of buying the dips, buying a pullback into this cyclical turn on the 4,500 tip bar chart is going to be an important point. But then after that we could well see some blow off activity and an end of trend warning signal on this 4,500 tip bar chart. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Continuation of this uptrend after a pullback, and then where that goes from there could well kind of start to roll over on the Thursday. And then just to show you lastly the 1500 tip bar chart, this is kind of the activity that I was seeing at the airport before getting on a plane. We kind of maxed out at 13.15 on the 1500 tip bar chart, and you could see coming into this turning point here, Rambo pattern at the highs. We come in and test again, bullish blue professional bars kind of at the highs. This little up amateur bar here with a bearish divergence signal, bang. Now if you couldn't have kind of taken this kind of trend trade short at this point here, this was a beauty kind of coming into this turning point here. That's actually a Rambo pattern printed behind a no demand pattern. Coming into here we had amateurs on the upswing at this point, very weak buying, and then we kind of roll over at this point. And on the 500 tip bar chart you saw a whole series of kind of Rambo patterns at this point here, and it just led to this kind of swan dive at the end of the day. And then at the beginning of today You can see kind of coming into this, we'd had our exhaustion selling on the 1500 tick bar chart. We kind of, this bar here was an amateur down bar kind of coming in here. Would have liked to have seen blue professional bar kind of come in here, but often talk about these kind of bullish divergence or bearish divergence signals that are really close to the zero line. What that shows is kind of a possible trend change, because we're in balance in terms of the buying and selling. My bet noir is kind of trending up days. I'm not sure I would have been very good at today. I probably would have been trying to hopefully I'd have been out kind of early in the day, but I'd have probably been trying to get short kind of later in the day, but it did kind of break into a continuous uptrend. But just watch out for tomorrow. We've still got to form our kind of pullback and end of trend sequences on all these kind of time frames, the 1500 and particularly the 4500 kind of going forward. I'll see what I'm going to do going into Wednesday's activity to see if I'm going to be trading overnight today, just because of the jet lag and so on. And so good luck with your trading over the next couple of days.